Hello there, everyone. Patricia here, and so glad to be with you here on Coffee Time Career Chat. It's Networking Wednesday, everybody. Yay! Super excited about that. Of course, always thrilled about Networking Wednesday. I've been having some really fun times the last few weeks in spite of being sick, so that makes it even better. But that is a conversation for another time. Today, we are going to be talking about networking and your number one fan as we continue in our series for this month of developing an empowered you. So we're ending that series today. And here's the thing. First of all, let's back up. For those of you who are joining for the first time, my name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor. I am an empowerment coach and authentic networking strategist who loves working with people who are trying to get to the next level in their careers and their business, but need help rebuilding or building that confidence, being more empowered in how they approach their situations and their careers, and absolutely needing help in learning how to leverage the professional relationships that they have in a manner that is supportive of their goals, and to do so authentically and purposefully. And today we are talking, of course, about networking and who your number one fan is. And we all have fans out there, right? Do you know who your number one fan is when it comes to wanting to push you out there to talk about what you're doing and all of that great stuff, right? Here's the thing. We should all have the same answer. And you're like, how's that? Because your number one fan should be yourself. Ta-da! End of session, right? No, not quite. So here's the thing, seriously, is we can talk all day about identifying the external number one fan, like someone out there, because it really does matter. You know, I talk a lot about our fan club and who's in your fan club. We're going to talk about that here today as well. But it starts with you. This is why I have been making sure to come back and circle around to this entire discussion around being more empowered, which includes being a greater advocate for yourself. Because if you cannot put yourself out there, if you cannot say, hey, I'm really good at this, and this is why I need to be considered for this thing, then you're going to have a problem, because you have to be able to, dare I say, sell yourself, speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself, if you want others to do it for you as well, right? There's always going to be someone. We all should have at least one or two people who are going to be, literally cheering us on. And that is fantastic. But the first person should be you. Okay. So here's the thing. If you are your number one fan, how are you leading your fan club? Right? Because, you have fan clubs out there when it comes to sports and activities and all kinds of stuff. And there's always that person who's like pushing everything, like, go listen to them do this, go watch this, go attend. Okay, so if you are your number one fan, how are you leading your fan club? And if you get a little shiver and like, then we got some work to do, right? Here are a couple of questions to help you figure this out. First and foremost, you need to know who's in your fan club. So who is in your fan club? Again, if you're having difficulty naming a few people right off the bat, then that's going to require some reflection on your part to sit down and do a gut check, because it's not about being braggadocious. It's not about thinking more highly of yourself. There literally are people out there who are so supportive of you, and you are doing yourself and them an injustice if you don't acknowledge them. I know several times along my career, but I'm thinking about one of the major shifts when I was making a major pivot to a next level position. And I was like, what am I going to do next? I don't know. I had to reach out to some people, and I was like, who can I reach out to that I trust and who will give me good sound advice and criticism if I need that, right? But who are those people? And literally the list came up, 4 or 5 people who were not the obvious, because sometimes you think, oh, it's, this friend or this whatever. They weren't necessarily the obvious. These were people who down through the years have always showed support for me, even if it was from afar. Now, this means these are hardcore fan club members, right? Because they don't have to be all up in your mix and all up in your business every day, every week, or whatever to be supportive of you. But when you need that support, they're willing to step up. And so in this particular situation, that's exactly what happened. I reached out to these folks because I literally said, I'm like, who has been supportive of me? Whose opinions do I respect? And I think will give me some sound advice during this transition. And there were several of them. One of them in particular was a lobbyist who I don't think we had ever actually worked together. We worked in the same environment. We had mutual friends. We had mutual business interests, all of that. But we had never worked together per se. But he was always someone that I kind of watched out for. I respected. He handled himself well. And he was always like, hey, Patricia, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing good. I mean, not just like in some superfluous way, but like in a genuine way. He was like, oh, tell me what's going on, da, da, da. And then he's like, okay, if you ever need anything, let me know, okay? And I go on about my business. And I never reached out to him for needing something per se, right? Until this time. And he was more than happy to come sit down. We had lunch. He was very frank with me about where he thought I was positioned and what I could do, and totally blew my mind because I didn't even think I could do some of these things he was talking about doing, right? And that has stuck with me all these years, okay? You need to be able to identify people like that for you. You need to be able to identify those people who are like, yeah, Patricia is the bomb, and what are you waiting on? Like, why are you not talking to her? Why are you, what are we waiting on? Right? And sometimes you can grow and things move along and you've got those folks, and then maybe it does flip. Because now I know that there are 2 people who I would say are definitely my fan club, but they are much closer, right? The relationships are much more personal. And I can't be thankful enough for them, for the support they've shown me in a whole different way. Okay, that has supported me through a different level of growth personally, but that still feeds into who I am and how I operate professionally. Okay, so it's not one dimensional, it's multidimensional. It can be different people for different reasons, but you got to know who's a part of that club. So write them down, identify them, get yourself a cup of coffee, get yourself some tea, something, and identify who those people are. It does not need to be some long, lengthy list, right? This is not about identifying people just because you think they will do something for you. This is about identifying people who have down through the years shown a genuine interest in who you are personally and professionally, and willing to step out and support you with or without your knowledge. Sometimes those people come back to you behind the scenes. When someone calls you about something, you're like, oh yeah, so-and-so gave me your name. They said wonderful things about you, so I had to call them. You're like, oh, wait, that's a member of fan club. Okay. Second question. Do they have the information that they need to share about you? And so if you checked in on Mondays, the previous Mondays, Coffee Time Career Chat, we were talking about this, and there was a little element of visibility and about how you have to be willing to step up and talk about yourself. You have to be willing to put yourself out there so that people have an idea of what it is, who you are and what you're doing. And so here's the thing. When's the last time you checked in with members of your fan club so that they could have accurate, updated information about you? right? I know right now I probably have some people I need to update because we maybe haven't chatted in a while or whatever. And I will definitely do that. Put it on a calendar, put it on a schedule, right? Follow up, follow through. This is part of that nurturing sequence. I'm skipping ahead, but when you're staying connected with people, hello, building those relationships professionally and keeping people in the loop, this is the thing that's really, really great. Because here's the thing, you want people to be updated about who you are today and not who you were 5 or 10 years ago. Heck, the way this world has been, even just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, could be a major shift. So many people have taken major shifts in their lives and their careers in the last couple of years even. So go back, figure out who those people are, and then make sure that they are updated about who you are and where you are right now. What does that mean? That means you have to do the work to sit down and figure out where you are today. What is it you're really, striving for? What's your next level goal? What's your next level dream? What are those things that you may need some support about? It doesn't always have to be about the next career move or the next business move. Maybe it's about, hey, I need to get myself situated personally so that I can be able to be open to those next level moves in other ways, right? So then maybe that's a conversation with someone who's willing to share at that level. Okay. So don't limit yourself, reach out and make sure you have the right information. Make sure they have the right information about you. Okay. The third question is, what are you doing to collect or nurture new fan club members? Yeah. Love that. As you continue to grow your professional network, your personal network, there should be growth. First thing, there should be growth in yourself and who you're dealing with so that you can be able to identify the next level fan club members, folks who are really clued in, that you're really connected with. But that comes as you grow. Okay. So that means you got to be feeding yourself. You have to be really, taking an inward look to say, where do I need to develop myself more? In what ways? Because maybe that's the new, sector of folks that you're going to be nurtured by, right? I know that I'm part of a mastermind today and some other folks and some other groups I've been a part of that have been so important to my growth just in the last 18 months. It's been incredible. But if I hadn't taken those steps to pursue opportunities with those groups, with those people, I wouldn't be able to consider those people part of my fan club right now. Okay. The second thing is you have to be willing to explore, right? Touched on it a little bit. Where are you exploring and reaching out to meet new people, to grow those relationships, right? Taking a chance, doing something different, getting outside of your comfort zone. All very, very important. And then lastly, making sure that you are sharing with the new members of your fan club, with those people that are in your nurture sequence when it comes to growing who's in your network and your fan club, right? It's a process. It's a process that repeats itself, but it's one that should have you growing at the same time and getting some depth to it. All right. So those are really important. The most important things is, number one, being able to answer who is your number one fan, and it better be you, right? And then as you're going through that, as your number one fan, who are the members, or how are you leading your fan club? Okay. That means you have to know who they are. You have to keep them informed, and you have to be willing to continue, explore, grow, and collect new relationships, deepen them, grow them, so that they can not just be supportive of you, but remember, when you expand your network, you're not just helping yourself. you're helping other people within your own network. Because just as there may be some folks who are in your fan club, you should be considered someone else's fan club member. And in order for you to do that, that means you've got to be engaging, that whole giving and receiving that we're always talking about when it comes to building professional relationships authentically. It's not about taking it all. It's really about giving and receiving so that you're nurturing on both sides and making sure you're making yourself available to be a member of someone else's. And, that whole thing of, playing it forward, passing it forward, whatever the term is, right? Moving things, sharing, and growing on both sides. Okay. So there we are. So I want you to go back and think about who's your number one fan, and how it affects your professional relationship building, how it affects building out your networking circle, and then get on the job. If you're not doing what you need to be doing to grow yourself and your fan club, you're doing everyone a disservice. And guess what? That will weaken if you don't feed it, if you don't nurture it. So it's very, very important for you to continue that work. Build it into your calendar, whether it's something you do monthly, quarterly, biannually, right? Multiple choices. I'm never going to say annually, because if you're only doing it once a year, that's not good. It's not healthy. All right. So your nurturing process needs to be consistent over time, and making sure that you're putting in the effort, and actually being a leader of yourself, right? Being able to speak up for yourself, being able to advocate for yourself, and acting in a much more empowered way as you grow professionally. Okay, there we go. So glad to be able to share that. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your comments. So let me know what you think up in the DMs or in the comment section, wherever you are. And as part of Networking Wednesday, I am going to ask you to share this out with at least one member of your professional network that you think could benefit from it. Okay. And then let me know who it was. Let's play it forward. Let's continue to grow. I'm looking forward to growing this community, not just for the remainder of this year, but into the next one as well. All right. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.